What's up, man? It's the Bronco at the Frog coming at you with another reaction video. My boy Ray Mar, we ain't hit him in a minute. Get him to 570,000 subscribers. Y'all know Italian football used to be on top of the world. Not anymore. Serie A used to be popping. AC Milan, Inter Milan, Juve. Not anymore. Even though Inter Milan was just in the Champions League final 2 times in recent memory. Oh yeah, Nap too. 2 times in recent memory. But in terms of big time signings and moving needles, viewership and all of that, not anymore. It's down in the dumps. What happened to Italiano football? Slow and painful death of Italian football. Let's see what goes down.
Time when Italian football didn't just command respect, it demanded fear. It was about dictating the rhythm and the culture of the sport.
Fear is
itself,
a good word for them. Fear was always a emotion that I felt watching back in the day. Italian football. When I see back in the day pictures, this picture right here invokes fear up inside my body. It just makes me feel something. It just makes me like, yo, this is football, bro. This is football. This got to be top 3 hardest football pick of all time, bro. I just feel like football is better. Even though I started watching in 2020, it just hit better. You know, when Italy is on top. He said Italy strikes confidence into opponents nowadays. I don't know what the hell happened to the Italians, but like I say, we finna watch Ray Mar to find out. I'm pretty sure it has a lot to do with corruption, especially when we watched that Juventus video not too long ago.
Forged from the defense and a midfield mind schooled in the dark arts of tactical warfare. The Italians shaped football with a philosophy that was both beautiful and brutal. Italian football's signature style was so recognizable that the term catenaccio, or goal football, was born.
Catenaccio, or the chain, is a tactical system in football with a strong emphasis on defense. In Italian, catenaccio means doorbolt, which implies a highly organized and effective backline defense focused on notifying opponents' attacks and preventing goal-scoring opportunities. Yeah, y'all know Bronco. Bronco don't rock with this style of footy. You know, Bronco don't rock with the catenaccio. You feel me? Bronco is more of a tiki-taka. You know, Bronco is more of a all-out attack more than a catenaccio.
Used to describe a tactical system in football.
It just sounds like a fancy word of parking the bus.
But catenaccio wasn't just a system. It was a statement, a mirror of a nation that found glory in discipline, structure, and the elegance of a 1-0 win. We're talking about a nation that's won
1-0 and elegant in the same thing. That's what I'm saying. This is why, you know what I'm saying.
4 World Cups and 2 European Championships. A nation with clubs that historically reigned supreme in Europe like AC Milan, Juventus, and Inter Milan. A nation filled with all-time footballing legends like Paolo Maldini, Franco Baresi, Roberto Baggio, Gianluigi Buffon, Fabio Cannavaro, and many more. Italian football was the gold standard. Even when they weren't the most skillful or flashy, they were the most feared. And more often than not, they were the most successful. But that Italy, the one whose shirt once carried the weight of tactical genius, generational talent, and cold-blooded resolve, is long gone. Today, the Azzurri are so bad, it's almost like a joke. A complete...
Why he dropped that little goofy-ass soundtrack in the background? I don't even know if it's goofy or not. It sounds like a normal Italian song, but why that bitch just sound so goofy?
No disrespect to Italy. Are so bad, it's almost like a joke. A complete and utter disgrace to not only the history of Italian football, they might as well be a mockery to the history of Italy itself. Because if you want to feel old, the last time that the Italian men's team played a World Cup match was over a decade ago, back in the 2014 World Cup. And the last time they played an elimination...
2014 is crazy. Like, half the Twitch chat wasn't even born then. The last time Italy was in the World Cup. That's what's crazy.
Match in the World Cup was all the way back in the 2006 World Cup. And if you have any hope for them in this upcoming 2026 World Cup, well, Italy might not even qualify, as right now they're struggling at 3rd in their group qualifying table.
There's extra spots this year. Hold on, does England get any extra spots, or does the rest of the world get extra spots? Because, you know, it is expanded. It would make sense if the rest of the world did. but everybody get extra spots. Okay, yeah. So these niggas get extra spots. How are they still damn near not qualifying? Oh yeah, you right. Norway has played 4. Israel has played 3. Italy has played 2. Goal differential. But still, even if hypothetically Italy win 3 games, they still gonna be behind Israel on goal differential, hypothetically. Depending on, he said Israel. Depending on, like, if they win 1-0 or something like that, bro. What is Italy, bro? Like,
Norway and Israel, of all countries. Let that sink in for a moment. So just
bro, you put United States of America in there. Oh my mama, we quiet, bro. We. If I speak, I may be fined. If I speak, I may be fined. Hey, you put United States of America right here, bro. We qualifying number 1 in the group.
Norway and Israel, of all countries. Let that sink in for a moment. So just what the hell happened? How did a nation that once wrote football's rulebook become one that's now barely invited to the table? How did Italy, once the soul of the beautiful game, lose its way? To truly understand this embarrassing fall, we first have to remember the peak, then go on and trace every horrific misstep that would eventually follow.
It's around corruption,
Because
gotta
long
be.
before tiki-taka, gegenpressing, or modern-day playbooks, Italy were laying down the blueprints rooted in discipline, intelligence, and the art of control. And this goes back all the way to the 1930s, with Italy winning back-to-back World Cups in 1934 and 1938.
Sheesh, shout out Italy. Czechoslovakia. Bro, I always say, if the Czech Republic and all of them fucking countries that be always having civil wars and having war with each other, never split up, and I tell you, they ass would be top 2, top 3 in damn near almost every sport, bro. The Czech Republic, Slovenia, Slovakia, where's Jokic from? Where that man Serbia, bro, all them countries, didn't they all used to be one country? Like, bro, if they ass never would have split up and been so busy focused on war and been focused on sports, there'll be some dogs, like, especially in basketball, man. Goddamn it, Jokic and Luka on the same. Hey.
World Cups in 1934 and 1938. Sure, it's a long time ago, and I'm confident that nobody from back then is watching this video. But those victories weren't just footballing achievements. They would help build the foundations for the growth of a modern Italy.
Okay.
As on the political
Bro,
side,
I did not say no
Mussolini
Soviet
would
Union.
use those World Cup victories, not only to promote national pride, but also to promote societal and infrastructural advancement, regardless of what you think of the guy. But after World War II, those early foundations would help build the seeds of dominance that would later bloom throughout the following decades. And the result of this was Serie A rising to prominence, over the years becoming arguably the most competitive and star-studded league in the world by the 1990s. And much of the success was largely defined by Catenaccio. And over the decades in Italian football, it would become more and more popular. And although a tactic that prioritizes defense might sound boring, there's actually a lot more to it. Catenaccio relies on a deep-lying sweeper or a libero, bridging a solid back line and a tight-knit midfield. It never relied on heavy pressing, it did rely a lot on tight.
I seen this on a YouTube compilation thumbnail. But I think Iniesta had the ball instead, and it was like 5 people around him. And they tried to make it seem like, you know, Iniesta was dribbling all 5 of them.
Man marking. Although it doesn't pressure the opposition like gegenpressing does. In contrast, Catenaccio had a lot less holes in his defense. But make no mistake, in Catenaccio, whenever the ball was repossessed, they would quickly step on the gas and hit with a swift counterattack. To outsiders, maybe it was anti-football. But to Italians, it was brilliant.
Nah, ain't no anti-football. Was people really calling it anti-football back in the day? Or was they calling it proper football? Y'all always tell me this is proper football. Like, this is what Morocco did. In the World Cup, y'all called it proper. I was the only one caught in the terrorist ball.
More calculated way to win with ice-cold efficiency. Quickly, it became their national identity. Stoic, cunning, and ruthlessly effective. Catenaccio was working, and it was winning matches. With this, Italy once more lifted the World Cup in 1982. And by then, Serie A had become home to the world's best. Diego Maradona, Michel Platini, Marco van Basten, and Ruud Gullit all played in Italy. And by the 1990s were the golden decade for Serie A football. Italian clubs dominated Europe. The league's tactics, style, and star power were unmatched. Players like Roberto Baggio, Franco Baresi, Alessandro Del Piero, and Paolo Maldini weren't just great. They were immortalized in Italian football. And even though at the time AC Milan became the greatest dynasty in club football history, Serie A was still very competitive. And the league was like a weekly chess match watched by millions. And although by the start of the 2000s, while the names and players that embodied this Italian style were at the end of an era, they would still proceed to win the 2006 World Cup. Not by destroying their opponents offensively and scoring a ton of goals, but by having a rock-solid defense and a truly genius midfield.
That's Cannavaro. He the last offender to win the World Cup, to win the Ballon d'Or, ain't it?
More than 1 or 2 goals to steal the victory.
Allegedly, people
but
still
what came after wasn't a graceful descent. It was a collapse. For Italian football, it seemed like decades and decades of success eventually bred complacency. And after their 2006 World Cup win, Italy seemed to believe that their formula would last forever.
See, that's where you messed up. That's where you get did dirty, right? They're getting complacent. That's the worst thing that can happen. Winning a lot, getting complacent, thinking you superior. Life has a funny way of humbling you, bro. And the life has humbled the Italians time and time and time again. It's happening right in front of our eyes.
The immediate years that followed were marked by a failure to refresh their squad. Icons like Cannavaro, Gattuso, and Del Piero were nearing the twilights of their career. And by this time, Italy's pipeline of fresh talent had already started to dry up. Italian youth club systems, once among the best in the world, lost the edge to those in Germany, Spain, and even England. They were simply no longer producing world-beater talent at the same rate. You could argue that the Calciopoli scandals really set Italian football back, ruining its overall image and reputation, making it a lot less attractive for young talents to choose Italy as their destination.
There's always them scandals. Look at this guy right here. You can just tell he's scandalous. You can just tell. We remember watching the video. It's all of them scandals and the corruption and all of that.
Talents to choose Italy as their destination. Heck, you might even argue that the talent was there, but for various reasons, societal or personal, many players' careers would stall and they would never reach their full potential. And a perfect example is Mario Balotelli. Regardless, the lack of generational transition became a perfect example is
this is more of a Mario. It was Mario's fault on why Mario ain't pan out. I feel like when you got a head case like that, or somebody who just continuously just stays into trouble, or just stay doing shit off the field, on the field, whatever. I feel like that was Balotelli's fault.
Mario Balotelli. Regardless, the lack of generational transition became painfully clear in the 2010 World Cup. Even as the reigning champions, Italy crashed out in the group stages. They failed to win a single match in a group that included Paraguay, Slovakia, and New Zealand. And that was their
What? Now, I know Paraguay had some that they had what's his name over there? I know these teams got some. It's 2010, or I know these teams got some players on there, but who was on New Zealand? Paraguay ain't had. Then what's his name play for? No, I'm thinking of Chile. Well, yeah, who the hell was on Paraguay? Look at this ass group. 1 win, 2 draws get you top of the damn group, bro. It's Italy, bro. Y'all be out, y'all. Man, bro.
That was their worst tournament performance in decades, and immediately the alarm bells should have rung louder, but for some reason, they stayed complacent. Simultaneously, Serie A was crumbling. The league's giants couldn't keep up with the rapidly growing English Premier League or the primetime attraction of Spain's Galacticos era. Clubs failed to modernize their stadiums, invest in commercial ventures, or attract top-tier foreign investment, aka oil money. Italian football as well, globally, and television was getting less and less attractive. Even though the Italian style was effective on the pitch, many younger and newer fans of the next generation
nobody ain't trying to see all that. Nobody trying to see no terrorist ball, bro. My mama, these old folks stuck in their old ways. That's really what it's all about.
Newer fans of the next generation didn't quite find the play style as appealing as other leagues. But even then, the signature Italian style was losing its effectiveness. On the tactical front, while Spain evolved into a possession-based force, and Germany transformed through youth and pace, Italy fell into stagnation. And I'm not saying that it wouldn't work, but without the midfield and defensive genius that Italy has produced for decades and decades, the Italian way of football was just not optimized to win. Without the talent to fill its demands, the system that had once given Italy its dominance had now become its prison. So if the late 2000s were a decline, for Italy, the 2010s were a full-blown crisis of identity. Once more, Italy's failures at the 2014 World Cup with another group stage exit confirmed that the issues were not getting better. Sure, the team showed flashes of quality.
2 group
After
stage
all,
exits in a row and then not qualifying 2 years in a row. That is a terrible run. That is 16 years of straight terribleness, man. Italy got some balls right now. Bastoni, Keane, Barella, Tonali.
beat England in the opener. However, they would lose to Costa
They
Rica
did
and
win
to
Euros.
Uruguay, finishing third in the group. Until this day, that was the very last time they've ever played a World Cup match. Because in 2018, they would hit rock bottom when Italy failed to qualify for the World Cup altogether. That was their first time since 1958, more than half a century ago, that the Azzurri time since 1950 to qualify.
What? Oh. I was gonna say this was the country that the World Cup took place in. I was gonna say runners up, 94.
Qualify for the World Cup altogether. That was their first time since 1958, more than half a century ago, that the Azzurri would fail to qualify for the World Cup. Behind the scenes, the Italian Football Federation was clueless. Leadership changes were frequent, vision was absent, and structural reforms were delayed or ignored completely. While countries like Germany overhauled their football after early failures,
Shout out Germany,
even
bro.
France had built world-class youth academies and made a clear pathway for young talent. By contrast, Italy kept patching holes instead of rebuilding the ship. Italian academies were producing very few elite players, and the result was Serie A clubs preferring to sign older veterans or foreign imports. Basically, short-term results were prioritized over long-term planning. And this would go on in a loop, only further damaging their youth development and producing even less elite players. Interestingly and ironically enough, while Italian managers like Carlo Ancelotti and Antonio Conte thrived abroad,
Tell me why. And I know the nigga last name is Ancelotti. Lati. Tell me why I am just now finding out in big 2025, August 11th, that this man Carlo Ancelotti was Italian. Tell me why I am just now figuring that shit out, bro. In 2024, I thought this nigga was Spaniard, Uruguayan or something, bro. It never just clicked in my mind that his last name Ancelotti, Italian. Duh. I ain't know where the nigga name was.
Italian players on the other hand did not. Few would make the leap to top foreign clubs and even fewer succeeded. Italy wasn't just losing on the pitch, it was losing its soul. The philosophy, identity, and swagger that once defined Italian
It ain't got
football
no swag.
had
That's
vanished.
a
What
problem.
remained was a confused, risk-averse, broken system. That's why, out of nowhere, their Euro 2020 win was so surprising. Roberto Mancini's side stormed through the tournament, winning with style, unity,
coming
and
around.
purpose. They pressed high, swiftly, and played with energy that Italy hadn't shown in over a decade. It felt like Mancini reinvented the national side with an emphasis on ball control, fluid movements, and team chemistry. Italy went on to beat Belgium, Spain, and
boys out here
finally
farming
England
Europe.
in penalties, lifting just their second ever European championship. The country celebrated like it just won the World Cup, and for a moment it felt like the demons of the past decade had been exorcised.
But
this didn't last. Just 15 months later, Italy failed to qualify for the 2022 World Cup. A shocking loss to North Macedonia of all places sent them crashing out. It proved
football just don't make sense, man. To be honest, this doesn't make sense, bro. These motherfuckers just won the Euros. Euros is supposed to be the toughest national team competition outside of the World Cup. And these niggas still can't qualify to the World Cup, bro. Where Erdy at? You know Erdy was T.
them crashing out. It proved that Euro 2020 was an outlier, but not reflective of a deep, systematic reform. The problems that had plagued Italian football, talent depth, governance, and vision, were never really truly addressed. And it's sad because Italy showed the world what they could be again, but it was only a glimpse. Today, Italian football
They
is
still ain't got no
caught in
swag.
limbo. The national team, now under former Italian legend Gennaro Gattuso, is still slowly rebuilding. However, their core issues remain: a lack of star power, a shallow talent pool, and a nation unsure of how it wants to play. Their forwards, midfielders, and defenders are nowhere near the best in the world. In all honesty, the only truly world-class player they have is their goalkeeper Gianluigi Donnarumma. I mean, sure, their defense is pretty good, but no longer better than everyone else. Inter Milan, the only Italian side to make it deep in the Champions League, only have a handful of Italian players, notably Alessandro Bastoni and Nicolo Barella. Financially, Serie A also lags behind. The stadium modernization is slow. Nicolo Barella.
Revenue scores. Italy. Hey, at least they above France. Even though that ain't really
Financially, Serie A also lags behind. The stadium modernization is slow. TV
international broadcasting revenue. Hey, at least they above France.
rights pale in comparison to that of the Premier League, and overall the footballing market around Italy just seems outdated. Sure, Serie A is very rich in tradition. However, they're quite poor in
You know what I think it is?
In just the past few years alone, the Italian national side has went through a carousel of managers. Mancini to Spalletti to now Gattuso.
Tell me, I feel like it's just simply because of the fact. Does language not have direct correlation when it comes to these leagues and how good are they doing? How many people on this earth speaks English? Like, yeah, Premier League gonna be the top. English is like the world's national language. La Liga. How many people on this world speak Spanish? You got the South American motherfuckers speaking Spanish. You got the Spaniards speaking Spanish. This and that. And then you see how big of the drop it is when it gets to the Bundesliga. Who speaks German? Germany. The Serie A. Who speaks Italian? Italians. Who speaks France? The Frenchmen and some Africans. You know what I'm saying?
Italian is the official language of Italy, San Marino, Switzerland, and Vatican City. It's also the official language of some parts of Croatia and Slovenia. This is from Babbel.com.
Siri, I didn't fucking ask you. Siri over here trying to take over the stream, bro. Hell wrong with Siri, man. See, that's what I was saying. They need to make it to where you can just turn Siri off, bro. It was a rhetorical question. Damn. Anyway, yeah.
Pale in comparison to that of the Premier League, and overall the footballing market around Italy just seems outdated.
I'm gonna turn it
sure,
off.
Serie A is very rich in tradition. However, they're quite poor in innovation. In just the past few years alone, the Italian national side has went through a carousel of managers. Mancini to Spalletti to now Gattuso. They've honestly been like the Man United of European nations. So right now, Italy is no longer feared. Opponents see them as easily beatable, but they're no longer trendsetters.
Bro, they called they had the Man United of national teams, bro. That's so disrespectful to both club and nation.
The Man United of European nations. So right now, Italy is no longer feared. Opponents see them as easily beatable, but they're no longer trendsetters, and they are far from having world-class talent once more.
We will beat Italy.
So, is there any hope for Italy? Short term in making it back to the World Cup? Yeah, sure. In World Cup qualifiers, they are third place and 3 points behind Israel. However, they do have a match in September. And honestly, there's no way they're going ahead of Norway and qualifying automatically. So if they do get second place in their group, they're gonna have to battle it out. However, even if they do make it, at this point, honestly, I don't think they're gonna go very far. But over the long term, I predict it's gonna be a very difficult path for Italy. The entirety of Serie A and Italian football culture has to get an update. They have to modernize, market better, and catch up with the modern game. If they ever wish to see the same financial success that will help clubs grow and attract more talent. At the youth level, there are some encouraging signs. Italy's under-20 team did reach the final of the 2023 World Cup, so they do have quite a few youngsters coming up that have a lot of talent. Tactically, Serie A teams have improved their diversity, and we did see an Italian side like Inter make it all the way to the Champions League final. There's even been talks of structural reform, like modernizing stadiums, adjusting league formats, and finding ways to attract investors and in turn, attracting young talent. If followed through correctly, these could re-energize Italian football. While Italy have fallen very low, it's not irreversible. However, for a rebirth to happen, the nation must let go of the romantic nostalgia and instead embrace a new identity. One built on youth, risk-taking, and adaptability. Because if Italy want to be feared again, they must remember not just how to defend, but also how to score and take the lead.
Let them know, Raymar. Raymar football! with the banger as always, man. The slow and painful death of Italian football. Me personally, I think it's over. I don't see them boys rising up and coming out and doing what they do. Because like I said, when it comes to revenue and doing this and that, I feel like it's a language thing. We seen that chart. Italy, how many Italian speakers in the world? 85 million speak Italian. Now, you seen the big jump between Italian and Spanish? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see French. 85 million for Italian. French is 66. Yeah, France got more than Italy, but like I say, they ain't got no captivating. What's his names? Most spoken languages in the world. We got English at number 1 with 1.5 billion. We got Chinese, Mandarin. We got Hindi. Spanish is in 4th, so we're not counting Chinese and Hindi. We got English in Spain. Premier League in La Liga was the top 2 on that chart. Then at 3rd, we had German. German not on here, but Italian not on here either. French is on here, but like I say, they only really got 1 team. And it's Paris Saint-Germain. Italy, they got some team. They got Inter. They got AC Milan. They got Juve. Anyway, hey, hopefully we can see Italy make the World Cup, especially because I just want Italy to be back in a normal form, bro, really.
Stability.
Of them doing what they do, especially so I can see it in person. I want the 2026 World Cup to hit hard, to hit stupid, especially just because it's in the United States of America, man. So Italy, y'all do y'all thing and make it, bro, so we can, see what it do. Anyway, hey, I'm out.